Good afternoon, everyone. You have no idea how wonderful it is to be here today to speak to you all. As you may be aware, myself and 3 other ICC colleagues, Helen Asaf, Alexander Kodakov, and Esteban Peralta Lacia, were detained for 26 days in Zintan by the Libyan authorities from 7th of June until the 2nd of July. On the first day of our detention, we were informed that all 4 of us were detained under the authority of the Libyan Prosecutor General. On the second day, although we were initially informed that Mr. Kodakov and Mr. Lacia could leave, we were subsequently notified that all 4 of us were arrested and that our continued detention had been confirmed by the chairperson of the National Transitional Council, Mr. Mustafa Abdul Jalil. I would like to note, though, that Captain Alajmi and the Zintan Brigade, who were responsible for implementing our detention, treated us with respect and dignity and were very attentive to our requirements. Nonetheless, during these 26 days of detention, we were never provided with an order or decision concerning the legal basis for our arrest and detention, or for the search and seizure of privileged and confidential ICC documents, or for the breach of Libya's promise to the ICC to implement a privileged visit with Mr. Saif al-Islam Gaddafi. The Prosecutor General initially indicated to us that we would not be entitled to have any communications with our family or our consular representatives. It appears that through the diplomatic initiatives of the ICC and our consular representatives, we were eventually entitled to receive a monitored consular visit and 1 5-minute conversation with our families. As you can imagine, speaking to my 2-year-old daughter under such circumstances was both an emotional lifeline and heartbreaking. It is immensely difficult to be detained under such circumstances, but I was incredibly lucky to have the emotional support and good humour of my fellow ICC detained staff, Helen, Esteban and Alexander. The fact that President Song personally came to Zintan to welcome us with his wonderful smile also means a great deal to me. As you may be aware, it has been announced that the ICC will conduct an investigation in relation to the allegations made by the Libyan authorities. And I would like to note that on the very first day of our arrest, I explicitly informed the Libyan authorities that if they had any concerns regarding my misconduct, that they had the right to file a complaint in accordance with the procedure set out in the ICC Code of Conduct for Council, but that I had full immunity from arrest, detention, or any other investigative action taken against me, and measures taken by the Libyans in that regard would violate international law. I would also like to unequivocally state that I believe that my actions were fully consistent with my legal obligations under the ICC statute and rules and the Code of Professional Conduct for Council. Irrespective of any issues concerning my own personal conduct, the rights of my client, Mr. Saif al-Islam Gaddafi, were irrevocably prejudiced during my visit to Zintan. Amongst other things, the Libyan authorities deliberately misled the defense concerning whether the visit with Mr. Gaddafi would be monitored. They also seized documents which were covered by legal professional privilege and ICC protective orders. It is the position of the defense that these recent events had completely underscored that it would be impossible for Mr. Saif al-Islam Gaddafi to be tried in an independent and impartial manner in Libyan courts. The defense intends to place these matters before the ICC pretrial chamber in the defense response to Libya's request to have the proceedings in Libya, and our response will be filed on the 11th of July. It is ultimately a responsibility of the pretrial chamber to decide this issue. When we were in detention, we had very little idea of the ongoing processes concerning our release. It was therefore extremely overwhelming upon my release to discover the outpouring of international concern for our safety and welfare. I would therefore like to express my utmost appreciation and gratitude to the staff and judges of the International Criminal Court who strive to secure our release. Specifically, the ICC Staff Council were truly amazing, and I was very touched by the ICC staff, judges, and defence who have inundated us with such kind and supportive words on our return. I was also extremely grateful for the tireless efforts made to secure my release by the Australian Foreign Minister, Senator Bob Carr, the Australian Ambassador Designate to Libya, David Ritchie, as well as all those states and international organisations that work closely with the ICC to secure our release. Australian Ambassador Neil Mules and all his staff at the Australian Embassy in The Hague were also incredibly dedicated and supportive to my family. I would also like to express my gratitude to all the NGOs and bar associations who were extremely active in demonstrating their support to us and concern regarding our arrest and ongoing detention, and the implications that this had for my client's right to an independent defence and a fair trial. I'm incredibly blessed to have a wonderful family and friends who rallied together to create a network of support for myself and for my husband and daughter. I'm also very grateful to the Australian media for maintaining focus on my detention in Libya, notwithstanding the geographical distance between these countries, and the Australian public for its generous and heartfelt support for me and my parents back in Brisbane. Finally, I hope you can all understand that in light of what has happened, the defence has serious concerns for its ongoing security. It's for this reason that I will not discuss specific details of the events or respond to media questions until the ICC has been able to conduct a proper risk assessment, and I am in a better position to ascertain the implications for my client, who continues to be detained in Libya. Thank you very much for coming here today.